Hey, 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 happy day 570 of What's She Up To Now. Documenting the journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajamas. Not in my pajamas today, but I am in my curlers, my hot rollers. Going out to brunch this morning with my family. And let's talk a little bit about reflection. And I want to talk about reflection for several reasons this week. I've had some time to reflect, and I'm going to spend a bunch more time today reflecting. I'm sure after I go out to brunch with my family, that's always a time for reflection, given those interesting relationships. But we have such different relationships with our family members than we do with anybody else in the world. And of course, each of our relationships are different, but some of them are good, some of them are bad. But we always want to stop and reflect and ask ourselves, is this the way I want my relationship to be? When I say reflection, I mean, what am I putting out into the world? What am I showing? How am I showing up? How am I reflecting how I feel inside out into the world? I like to reflect. My grandmother, 99-year-old grandmother, passed away this past week, and her funeral was this past Wednesday, and it was an amazing turnout. It was a reflection of her beautiful life. Every single one of her children, every single one of her grandchildren, almost all of her great-grandchildren, and then her great-great-granddaughter, my granddaughter, was there. The rest of the great-great-grandchildren are in Texas and Florida, and one was in Minnesota, and none of them could make it, but at least one. So from all 5 generations, well, except for Grandma because she passed away, there was a huge representation of each of those generations. I mean, to me, the fact that every single one of her grandchildren, all of us made it to the funeral, and we're from all over the country, that speaks to what an incredible woman she was and what she put out into the world. And that got me thinking about wanting to reflect on my life, not only, not so much what I've put out in the world in the past, because there's nothing we can do about that, but what am I putting out into the world right now? And what do I want to put out? What do I want to give to the world in the future? Because I'm, of course, planning on having a future. We never know. It's never guaranteed. So we have to focus on what we can do right now. But I want to reflect on that, my grandmother's amazing life, what I'm putting out into the world, past relationships, working on selling my house, and finalizing all of the details of my divorce. So working on reflecting on relationships now versus what I want my relationships to be like in the future. Reflecting on my businesses, what I've been doing, what I've done in the past, and what I can take from that and move to give forward into the future. Honestly, I'm thinking that we should almost take some time every single week, not only every day to be grateful and appreciate what we have and what is working in our life, but every week to reflect on and ask the question, what am I putting out into the world? Is this what I want to put out into the world? Or is it not? We all go through phases where we're angry or frustrated or negative or just plain bitchy. And is that really what we want to put out into the world? I mean, I know, just like everybody else, I run that spectrum of emotions, and I get ornery and angry, oftentimes with the people we love and care about the most. And that's not how I want to show up in the world. That's not how I want to be. I don't want people to think that I'm ornery and grumpy or angry or bitchy ever. But we all are sometimes. Now, those times I try to be by myself so that I just get over it and I'm not that way around other people. But there are times when I snap or I use the wrong tone of voice or I am rude, or according to my sisters, I totally interrupt. I interrupt. When my family gets together, it's like a constant interruption of one another. It's super disturbing and frustrating, and it's not that way in my business life, but it is that way in just not my immediate family, but my family, my sisters, and that particular family and dynamic. I don't know why it's always been that way. We all have that bad habit of, wanting to talk over one another, and it's not nice. It's not necessary. It's just, a bad habit. And it only seems to come out when I'm around my family. There, a nice reflection, something I've learned that I personally want to change because I don't like the way I show up in those situations. So reflecting on everything, each of the different aspects of my life today. And again, I think I'm going to make that a more regular practice. Maybe once a month, I'll sit down and I'll just think about and reflect, how am I showing up now in each of the areas of my life? How am I showing up in my health? How am I showing up in my relationships? How am I showing up in my businesses? Or my main business. I need to focus and get down to one main area of business. Although I like to diversify and have a whole bunch of things going, um, I want to have it be one main focus at a time. How am I showing up in terms of what am I contributing? What am I giving to the world? How am I showing up, and what is it that I want to share with the world? And then financially, spiritually, and I missed one, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. But I think maybe for the next year, once a month, I will pick a day of the month, and like maybe this year it will be the 19th, because the 19th is a great day because it's the year 19, and then next year it'll be at the 20th of each month, and then the 30th, 20th, and the 21st, 22nd, and then when I run out of days, 30, when I get to 30, I'll have to start over. It'll be the first. But I think that's a habit and a practice that I'll start doing, is once a month I'm just going to spend a little bit of time, maybe a couple of hours, reflecting on how am I doing in each of the areas of my life, and is this the direction that I want to go? Now, I do review my goals. My dad ingrained that in all of us girls, that it's critical to have written down goals and to review them on a regular basis. So this is different than a goals review or a something like that. This is a, am I showing up? Am I serving? Am I being who I want to be? And that's a bigger, different question than, am I achieving my goals? Am I achieving a specific goal? Did I make X number of sales, or did I get X number of customers, or did I do X dollars in revenue? Did I lose X number of pounds? Those are specific goals, and that's very different than reflecting on who am I as a person. Some people think that personal growth and development ends at high school or ends after college, and that after that you don't have to learn or grow or mature anymore. I believe that we should be lifelong learners, that our life, it's the journey that's important. We're all a work in process, and no matter what, we're never going to get done. We're never going to be the exact perfect person that we want to be, but we ought to always be striving toward becoming the person that we want to be, and showing up in the world like we want to show up. So that's it. Do some reflection today. I'm going to do some reflection as well. Go out and make it an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.